Welcome to Relation Tales. Please like this video and subscribe Relation Tales. We're grateful for each and every one of you. Let us know where in the world you're tuning in from. We'd love to hear from you in the comments. Let's begin. I still remember the sizzle of the steak on the cast iron pan. The scent of garlic and rosemary filled the air, and for a fleeting moment, everything in my world felt right. My name is Liam Walker, and I'd spent the last 10 years of my life building something I thought would last forever with a woman I believed I knew better than I knew myself. Her name was Vanessa. Brilliant, charming, headstrong. The kind of woman who could walk into a room and tilt the gravity. We met in college. I was the introverted art major, sketching superheroes and lost memories in the margins of textbooks. She was a rising star in her marketing class, already being chased by internship offers from the moment she spoke up in a lecture. Against all odds, she chose me, and I gave her everything. Our condo was small, cluttered with books, canvases, half-drunk bottles of wine. We laughed a lot, fought sometimes, but I thought we were solid, real, until that night. Vanessa came home in a silk blouse that smelled like someone else's cologne. We sat across from each other, the candlelight flickering off her face. Something was off. Her smile was rehearsed. Her eyes darted. Then, casually like she was suggesting we try a new Thai place for dinner, she dropped the bomb. Liam, I've been doing a lot of thinking. I want to explore an open relationship. I blinked, stunned. You what? I'm not asking to end us, she rushed. Just to expand what us means. I miss the chase, Liam. The thrill of being desired. I want to feel alive again. My fork hit the plate. The silence between us cracked, sharp and ugly. Vanessa, I said carefully, you're not 22 anymore. You don't miss the chase. You're married. To me. That's exactly it, she argued. I'm married, and somehow that's become a prison. I want liberation, Liam. Growth. Progress. You of all people should understand. You're an artist. My voice dropped an octave. And you've already found someone, haven't you? Her eyes widened, just for a second. But that was enough. No, she said too quickly. There's no one. I'm just exploring. I'd seen enough YouTube videos, enough sobbing husbands and smug, progressive wives to know where this was heading. I leaned back in my chair, hands folded tightly together. So what's his name? She stiffened. There's no one. Say it again. And look me in the eyes this time. Nothing. I stood, my chest aching, my fingers trembling. The Vanessa I knew was gone, replaced by someone rehearsed and selfish. Someone who wanted the perks of commitment without the sacrifice. You want to feel alive? Go chase your thrills, Vanessa, I said coldly. But don't expect me to wait while you burn down her home. I walked out that night. Didn't say where I was going. Just needed air and space to breathe through the betrayal crawling up my throat. The next few days were silent. She texted, apologized, begged to talk. I didn't respond. Then, a week later, she tried again. She sat me down on the same couch where we used to binge-watch old sitcoms. This time, she didn't pretend. There's someone, she said, eyes brimming with false sincerity. His name is Colt. We work together. It wasn't supposed to happen, Liam. It just did. My blood turned cold. So this whole open marriage pitch, that was just your way of painting lipstick on a pig. It's not just sex, she whispered. He makes me feel noticed, young, desired. So I didn't make you feel those things. My voice cracked. You cheated on me, Vanessa. Don't hand me buzzwords to disguise it. Her excuses came fast and frantic. I didn't want to lose you. I thought if we did it together, it wouldn't feel like betrayal. Together? I laughed bitterly. There was no together. You were already in bed with him when you asked. You just wanted a permission slip. The air between us grew heavy. My heart, once so certain, felt like shards in my chest. I don't want to be caged anymore, she said, almost defiantly. I want to feel everything. To live. You want to live? I stood slowly. Fine, but not with me. She blinked. Wait, what? You heard me. I said, you can have all the freedom in the world. Starting now. I packed a bag that night. Not because I was giving up, but because I knew the storm was coming. And I had work to do. Revenge wasn't about rage. It was about precision. Patience. Watching a liar dig their own grave while handing them the shovel. And that's exactly what I intended to do. When I moved into the spare room of my buddy Dylan's place, I didn't bring much, just my sketchbook, my laptop, and a duffel bag filled with clothes that still smelled like her. I was hollow, not because I missed her, but because I didn't recognize the man I'd loved for 10 years in the woman who betrayed me. Vanessa Mayfield had once vowed to be my ride or die, and now she was sleeping with her coworker and calling it empowerment. I was done crying, done being shocked. It was time for strategy. I started observing her. No more outbursts, no more confrontation. I pretended to entertain her messages, told her I needed space to think. Meanwhile, I was thinking all right, thinking how to end her. She thought I was some passive, gentle artist who'd vanish quietly. She didn't know I'd been raised by a mother who rebuilt her life after her husband walked out and a father who left behind nothing but bitterness. I knew what betrayal looked like, and I knew how to outlast it. So I did what needed to be done. I hired someone good. Chase Whitaker was a private investigator recommended by Dylan's brother. Quiet guy, meticulous. Didn't blink when I said, I need photos, videos, everything. And I need it clean. This about a cheating spouse? Ex-spouse. Soon, I said. But before I walk away, I want to take everything she built her pride on and burn it down. She doesn't get to walk away in heels and lipstick while I lie in the wreckage. He nodded. Say no more. While Chase got to work, I went back to mine. I dove into my art like it was my only air supply. I started creating a new graphic novel, something raw and angry. The story of a man betrayed by the one person he trusted most. The antagonist? A seductive woman with a mask of virtue and poison in her veins. Sound familiar? Weeks passed. Vanessa kept calling, crying one day, furious the next. She tried guilting me. You're being dramatic, Liam. People evolve. Why are you punishing me for wanting to grow? You're not growing, I said flatly. You're rotting and calling it blossom. She went quiet after that. Then, one day, Chase delivered a USB drive, footage, screenshots, time-stamped texts. Vanessa and Colt weren't just co-workers. They were an office cliché, flirting over coffee, sneaking into the supply room, weekend getaways disguised as corporate training. She'd been living a double life for nearly a year. I watched one video in silence, her sitting in his lap at a beachside cafe, laughing like she didn't just carve a knife into my back. I didn't flinch. My heart didn't race. I just saved the files. It was go time. But I wasn't going to scream or cry or smash her apartment windows. No, that would be too easy. Vanessa worked at Ignite Strategies, a high-level marketing firm with a pristine reputation, and she held a management role. Company policy strictly prohibited relationships with subordinates. Colt was her junior. I didn't need to ruin her. I just needed to tell the truth with proof. But not yet. I had something else to prepare first. I knew how Vanessa's mind worked. She believed she had me wrapped around her finger, that if she pushed enough emotional buttons, I'd crack. She didn't know I'd already stepped off the chessboard and was watching her play herself. To keep her complacent, I started replying. I'm sorry, too. I just need time. Maybe we could talk next week. Just coffee. Nothing heavy. Her texts became warm again. Hopeful. She sent selfies. Said she missed my smell. It made me sick, but I played the part. Because revenge isn't a punch, it's a symphony. Meanwhile, I started rebuilding my own life. I picked up freelance art gigs. I started jogging again at dawn, letting the chill slap the grief out of my bones. I reconnected with old friends, told no one what was really happening. Not yet. One night, Dylan looked at me and said, "You seem calm. Too calm." That's because the storm's already scheduled. Scheduled? Yeah. I smiled coldly. It hits in about 3 weeks. She just doesn't know she's standing in the middle of it. He stared at me, unease flickering in his eyes. You sure you're okay? No, but I'm better than she will be. Back in Vanessa's world, she was living in delusion. She invited me to dinner one evening, promising she'd talk openly and clear the air. I agreed. I arrived looking sharp. Black shirt, tailored pants, fresh haircut. She wore a dress I bought her years ago, clearly hoping to channel old memories. Her lipstick was the same shade she wore on our 3rd anniversary. The smell of wine, the clink of plates, the fake nostalgia. I've missed you, she said softly. I bet, I replied. Things with Colt are complicated she confessed. He's not what I thought. No, he's needy and jealous. He keeps asking about you, like he's threatened by you. He should be. Her eyes widened. Vanessa, I said, folding my hands. Do you remember the day we signed our marriage certificate? She nodded. Do you remember what I told you that night? That you'd never leave me, she said, her voice trembling slightly. I smiled. That's the thing about promises made to someone wearing a mask. They don't hold up once the mask slips. She frowned. Liam, you broke us, I said quietly. Now I'm going to return the favor. I stood up, kissed her cheek, and walked out. She stood frozen, maybe confused, maybe scared. She didn't know that by the end of the month, she'd lose her job, her reputation, her comfort, and the man she betrayed will be just fine. Vanessa called me 3 days later. I didn't answer. She called again and again. By the fourth voicemail, her tone wasn't seductive. It was desperate. Liam, please. I think something's wrong at work. HR asked to meet. They mentioned a complaint. I don't know what's happening. Please call me. I leaned back in my chair, sipping black coffee, staring at a piece of concept art I'd been hired to illustrate for a startup game company. In the background, a small folder sat open on my desktop, one filled with images and time-stamped text from Chase's investigation. She'd always said honesty was the foundation of progress. So I gave the company what they needed. Honesty. Neatly organized, fully annotated. No emotion, no commentary, just the facts. 2 days later, the implosion began. Vanessa arrived at Ignite Strategies headquarters like any other day. Except this time, her assistant wouldn't look her in the eye. The front desk girl barely muttered hello. Then she got the call. Vanessa, HR needs to see you. Right now. She walked into the glass-walled room to find Colt already seated, his fingers nervously drumming against the table. The HR director, Ms. Pearson, looked like she hadn't blinked in 10 minutes. A thick file sat on the table between them. Let's begin, Ms. Pearson said, her voice cool. We received an anonymous package. The contents concern both of you. Vanessa's face paled. I don't understand. Ms. Pearson slid the folder forward. Inside were photos of her and Colt kissing in the staff parking garage, sitting close at a bar during a supposed work trip, text that made it clear the relationship had been active during company time. The final nail was a hotel receipt, billed under Colt's name, but attached to a company card. This violates multiple codes in our professional conduct policy, Ms. Pearson said, including misuse of company funds. Colt tried to speak. Vanessa cut in. Wait, this wasn't predatory. We're adults. It was consensual. That's not the issue, Ms. Pearson replied, steel in her voice. You're his superior. You never disclosed the relationship. And the company has a strict policy. You both knew that. But Vanessa's voice faltered. Who would even? Her eyes drifted toward Colt, but he was already slumping forward, wiping sweat from his brow. You set me up, he muttered to her. You said it would be fine. Don't you dare blame me, she hissed under her breath. You were the one who... Enough, Ms. Pearson snapped. We'll be in touch. For now, you are both suspended pending final review. And just like that, 10 years of work vaporized in the span of 15 minutes. Meanwhile, I was downtown having drinks with Dylan, watching the building lights flicker across the skyline. It's done, I said, sipping whiskey. And, he asked, HR meetings, suspensions, fallout. Dylan raised his glass. To poetic justice. If I didn't toast, I wasn't smiling. Because this wasn't about celebration. It was about closure. That night, I received a long email from Vanessa. Rambling, conflicted, apologetic. Liam, I know it was you. I know you sent it. You told me the storm was coming. I just didn't think you meant it literally. I don't even know what to say anymore. You were right. About everything. Colt's disappeared. HR is done with me. I tried to save face, but I couldn't. I lost everything. My job, my reputation, and you. I lost you long before that, didn't I? Please talk to me, even if it's just a scream. I deserve that. I didn't reply, not out of cruelty, but because words weren't enough anymore. And deep down, she knew that. The next blow came fast. Colt, realizing Vanessa had tried to downplay the affair and shift blame onto him, ghosted her completely, deleted his socials, didn't return her calls. Rumor had it he left town, moved back to live with his brother in Kansas. Vanessa spiraled. She tried to backtrack her way into some corporate credibility, but the HR report had gone beyond internal walls. Her name had been flagged in hiring circles. The marketing industry was connected by whispers, and hers was now tied to unprofessional conduct. Meanwhile, I kept moving forward. My graphic novel got picked up by a publisher. An editor named Rhea took a liking to my work, and we started working late into the evenings. She was smart, straightforward, sharp-eyed, nothing like Vanessa. One night, while reviewing character dialogue, she paused. "You write heartbreak really well." I looked up. Maybe I just lived it. "Still bleeding?" "No," I said, shutting the laptop softly. "Just drawing the scars." Back in her world, Vanessa was crumbling. No job, no Colt. Her circle of friends, once so vocal, so opinionated, began to scatter. Haley moved to another state. Allison stopped responding. Ashley was busy planning her wedding. Even her mother, Iris, quietly shifted to saying maybe it was for the best. She was alone, truly, and that's when she did the thing I expected but dreaded. She showed up at Dylan's apartment, unannounced. I opened the door to find her standing there in the rain. Not dramatic movie rain, just that bleak, heavy drizzle that turns everything gray. She looked tired, smaller, like the weight of her own choices was crushing her. "Can we talk?" she asked. I stepped aside. She entered slowly, eyes scanning the space like it held ghosts. We sat. Silence stretched between us like barbed wire. "You hurt me," I said finally, in ways I still don't fully understand. She nodded, wiping a tear. "I know. You wanted freedom. You got it. So why are you here?" "Because freedom isn't worth it." We're the only one in the room. I didn't speak. Let her feel the gravity of her own emptiness. "You were good to me," she whispered. "You loved me when I didn't even know how to love myself. And I broke that." "No," I said. "You shattered it." Repeatedly. More silence. "I just wanted to feel alive again," she said, voice trembling. "But instead, I lost everything that made life matter." I stood slowly. "Vanessa, I hope you heal." "I do, but I won't be part of that process." "Not anymore." Her lip quivered. She nodded and left. I closed the door behind her, took a deep breath, and felt free. Not because I destroyed her, but because I'd reclaimed myself. Weeks passed. The more time stretched, the lighter I felt. Vanessa no longer called. No more emails. No more guilt-soaked texts. She'd vanished from my life. And maybe for the first time in a long time, I could breathe. I was still staying at Dylan's, but it felt more like a home now. I was waking up at 6 a.m., jogging with music blasting in my ears, eating real food again, creating art with purpose. My latest graphic novel, Shadows in the Frame, was gaining traction. It wasn't just a story, it was therapy. And then there was Rhea. What started as simple editor feedback turned into late-night texts, voice calls filled with laughter, and that lingering pause before one of us hung up. She was blunt but gentle, intelligent but warm. One night she said, "You ever draw from real heartbreak?" "Every damn panel," I told her. "I can feel it," she replied. "There's so much rage, but underneath it, you still believe in love." That hit harder than I expected. Meanwhile, Vanessa? She'd moved into a cramped apartment across town. Rumors floated through mutual friends. She was working freelance, struggling to land consistent clients. A few dates here and there. Nothing serious. Colt never came back. One of her old coworkers told me she'd cried in the HR office when they officially terminated her. She tried to file a complaint against Colt, said he manipulated her. Didn't work. No one bought it. She was a pariah now, not just in her industry, but in her own reflection. About a month later, I got a text from Rhea. "I'm around your neighborhood. Coffee." We met at this little cafe near the park. She wore no makeup, hair in a loose bun, still the most radiant woman in the room. We talked for hours. About art, about failure, about people who lie, and those who survive them. She asked quietly, "Do you think you'll ever be able to love someone again?" I didn't answer right away. Then finally, "Yeah, but this time, I'll know exactly what love isn't." She smiled. "Good." That night, I walked her home. We didn't kiss, but when she closed the door, she leaned her head against it for a moment after it shut. So did I. Vanessa sent one last message weeks later. You were the best thing that ever happened to me, and I destroyed it. I hope someday someone gives you the love I couldn't. I read it, deleted it, then blocked the number. Some things don't deserve space in your new life. 6 months later, I stood in a small art gallery downtown, surrounded by strangers whispering in awe. The walls were lined with illustrations from shadows in the frame. Pain, betrayal, rage, all carved into brush strokes and ink. The final piece was a quiet panel. A man standing alone at sunrise, a suitcase in one hand, a sketchbook in the other. Alone, but at peace. That peace sold within minutes. Ria walked over in a soft green dress, 2 glasses of wine in hand. Congratulations, she said with a grin. They love you. Feels weird, I replied, smiling. Being seen again? Well, you deserve it. We clinked glasses. No grand declarations. Just a shared warmth. A quiet understanding between 2 people who'd walked through fire. Later that night, we sat on a rooftop overlooking the city. The wind was soft. Her hand found mine. Do you still think about her? She asked gently. Sometimes, I admitted. Not with anger. Just like a scar I no longer hate. Good. Because the man sitting next to me now, he's someone who rebuilt. I turned to her. I didn't do it alone. She leaned her head on my shoulder. You didn't have to. Vanessa, I heard, moved again. Out of state. New city. Trying to start fresh. Some people do. Some don't. I didn't care anymore. Her story no longer belonged in my chapters. The revenge? It wasn't the email to her company. Or the ruined career. It was me, standing tall, stronger, thriving, while she crumbled under the weight of her own choices. That was the real justice. Now, I wake up beside a woman who knows what truth tastes like. I pour coffee. I sketch in silence. I walk through each day with no weight on my shoulders. I'm not angry anymore. I'm free.